Catholic social teaching calls us to develop relationships based on love and live lives of justice. It is rooted in scripture and developed in papal, conciliar, and episcopal documents. It contains 7 themes that challenge us to create a just society and includes a commitment to the poor and vulnerable.
So let's set the stage a little bit then culturally, right? Gun violence prevention, or excuse me, gun violence is in and of itself a public health crisis, right? This is not something that is a one off incident every now and then. This is something that is deeply embedded in our culture here in the United States of America. And so the quote I have there is from the US bishops. It was the chair of several of the committees of the US bishops who wrote a letter to Congress in 2022 after the Uvalde shooting. And they said this: there is something deeply wrong with a culture where these acts of violence are increasingly common. There must be dialogue followed by concrete action to bring about a broader social renewal that addresses all aspects of this crisis, including mental health, the state of families, the valuation of life, the influence of the entertainment and gaming industries, bullying, and the availability of firearms. And what's so important from this letter, and this quote in particular, is that Catholic teaching is not a binary. It's not either or. We can't get into the polarization that we see in politics and in the media about it's either legislation for gun safety regulations or it's individual responsibility and mental health. Catholic teaching has that dialectical approach. It's both and. We have to address all aspects of this crisis, right? We really have to take it from all angles. And we have to address it as a cultural problem. This is important too. Pope Francis has talked about the throwaway culture that we really have embraced. That means even people are disposable, as well as things that he writes about so much in Laudato Si and elsewhere. We see that in our culture too, here in the US in particular, patriarchal norms have contributed to violence being glorified. We're numb to it. It's in our movies, it's in our TV, it's in our kids' video games. It's even, you see the photo there of the Barbie gun that was released, and I think has been taken off the shelves since they did not have permission for the trademark. But you see how even in the culture, we're numb to the violence, and anything can be branded for marketing, right? So we've become it's become so ingrained in our culture that we don't even notice it anymore, and we're not as affected by it. And so we have to reject participating in that kind of throwaway culture. We know too that Catholic social teaching and Catholic doctrine has a seamless garment approach to life. And so again, this is a crisis on the dignity of human life. It is a crisis of people dying. And so we have to use that seamless garment approach. We should be hearing about it in churches, and we should be moved as Catholics to do something. And then lastly, again, as a sense of rejecting the polarization that we see in the country on this issue, is there's a real disconnect, right? We know that 6 out of 10 US adults favor stricter gun laws, favor what we would call common sense, evidence-based gun legislation. And yet we can't get laws passed in Congress. So there's a polarization there, there's a disconnect, both at the state level and the federal level between what's happening. And again, as Catholics and with Catholic social teaching us how to be involved in the culture, we have to take action on that.